this is the part 2 of the lighting effects tutorial, which is going to cover some font effects as well. So this is where we left off. We had just finished making our smoke and moving the layer. So now I want to create some text, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and click on my coffee cup layer because I do not want my text to be inside my lighting effects folder. If you want to make it less confusing, you can click this little arrow, which will close the folder so it gives you less layers. So I have my coffee cup layer selected. I'm going to come over to my type tool, and you can use any font or any slogan or anything that you would like to type. I'm just going to keep it simple, and I'm going to type "Buy me a coffee." This is a little small for me at 36 point font, so I'm just going to go ahead and highlight it. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. I am using Cooper Standard and then black. Again, you can use any font you would like, but I would suggest something that is a little bubbly or thick so you can see your layer effects we're going to add. So I'm going to click on my Move tool, and then you can move this wherever you'd like. It's up to you. So I'm going to right click on my text layer and go to blending options. And the first thing we're going to click on is our gradient overlay. We're going to leave everything the same except we're going to change the gradient color. So I'm going to click on here and double click my first left stop. And I want you to find a bright orange color, which I'm gotta click around here to find. Here we go. So I'm gonna click and find kind of like a bright, maybe yellowish orange. That looks good. If you want, that code for this particular color is FF9900 if you want to use the exact same one I am. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And on the right side, I'm going to click and make something similar, but I'd like it a little bit darker, almost on the brown side. So I'm just going to kind of click to see. I want something like that, but maybe a little bit darker. All right, so I think this looks good. So again, if you want to copy this exact color, the code is going to be 993300. Or again, you can kind of play with it yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And again, we're done with the gradient editor, so I'm going to click OK. That's all we're doing for this layer style. Next, we're going to click on the stroke. And we're going to change the size to 1. We're going to position it. It's already at outside. We're going to leave the blend mode at normal. And we're going to leave the opacity at 100%. We are going to change the fill type from color to gradient. And we're going to do something similar to what we had a minute ago. So I'm going to click the gradient editor again. And I'm going to get that first stop, and I'm going to find, again, kind of like those orangey colors, but this time it's going to be more of a muted kind of brown orange. Want something a little bit brighter. All right, so we're going to leave it at this. So the code for this orange, if you want something that's very similar, is CC6600. So I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to find my oranges again. And I want to kind of stay near that color, but maybe just a little bit darker. It's almost going to be really hard to tell the difference. So again, we're using the similar color, I think, from last time, which is 993300. Once you're done with that, go ahead and click OK. And again, click OK on your gradient editor. And we're going to leave everything else the same. Next, we're going to go to our bevel and emboss, and we're going to change our style. I'm sorry, we're going to leave our style as the inner bevel. We're going to leave our technique as smooth. We're going to change the depth to 61. We are going to leave the position or direction as up. The size is going to be 0. The soften is going to be 2. We're going to change under the shading section, we're going to change the angle from 120 to 90. We're going to change the altitude from 30 to 58. We're going to change the highlight mode opacity to 100. The shadow mode we're going to change as well to 100. And then next we're going to go to our drop shadow. We're going to leave that as multiply. Opacity is still going to be 75. We're going to leave our angle at 90 and use our global lighting. We're going to leave the distance, the speed, and spread and the size the same at 505. And then we're going to leave the everything else the same as well. So once you're done with that, you can go ahead and click OK. You should have something that looks like this for your text. Again, you can have any text style you would like, but I would choose something that's a little bit of a thicker font, and now you can kind of see why, because if it's a very thin font, it's going to be hard to see the effects you added. Now I'm going to go ahead and save my document, so I'm going to go to File and Save. I always want to save it as a Photoshop file first, that way I can always go back and make corrections if I need to. If you save it as any other file, it'll lose your layers and your options to change things later. So I have it as a Photoshop file. I'm just naming it Lighting Effects, and I'm going to click Save. Click OK. And then if you would like to save that as a JPEG or something different, you can go to File, Save As, and then you can change your format down here as well. So I'm going to save it as a JPEG and click Save. This is a personal preference. This is fine for me, so I'm going to click OK. And now we have completed our lighting effects tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.